I am inevitable, and I am Iron Man.
I am Tupac.
Nope, not really what we were doing here, buddy. What the hey. And I'm Josh. Hello all, I'm Josh. This is Josh Builds Stuff, and I'm here today with my good friends Iron Man and Thanos, who are the stars of the new 4+ LEGO set that we are reviewing today, Iron Man vs. Thanos. Makes sense with a name like that. This is another junior set, or I guess they're called 4+ sets now. This set contains 103 pieces and costs $20 here in the US. We only got 2 new Marvel sets in the March 2021 release. This one in the big like Spider-Man spider layer, I got that set. Also just finished building it and we will review that set as well. But today we're talking about this little junior set. If you're a big fan of the MCU like me, you will instantly recognize this scene. This is when Iron Man hops in his Iron Man jet and has to defeat Thanos, who is on his Thanos-themed cannon, we'll call it, because Thanos is trying to steal the Infinity Gauntlet out from behind laser jail. Okay, obviously this set is a little ridiculous in terms of canonical accuracy, but it's a LEGO set, it's for kids, it's supposed to be ridiculous, and in that respect, I like it a lot. But we'll talk more about the details of this set after we build it, so let's do that right now. The build for this set, again, I will reiterate, is for kids, and it's best built, in my opinion, with a kid. That's exactly what I did. I built this with my almost 4-year-old. He had no problem putting the whole thing together. The build steps are purposely easier and simpler so that a kid like him can follow the steps. In the end, you're left with a bit of a ridiculous build, but to a kid, it has everything he could ask for. When I say this set has everything a kid could ask for, I mean it. It's got good guys and bad guys. In this case, pretty good guys and bad guys. You've got Iron Man and Thanos, the main bad guy in the whole series, and what I would argue as the main good guy in the whole MCU as well. We've also got a spaceship and a cannon for our characters to ride in or sit on, I guess. And both of those things fire things out of themselves. And that is, like I said, all that a kid really wants out of a set. I could have just given my kid this little spring shooter with the big rubber missile in it and he would have been happy. Honestly, I brought home this set as a part of like $400 worth of other LEGO sets with cars and planes and ships and other things that I got recently, and yet this set and this little Thanos cannon is the only thing that my kid has wanted to play with. He just wants to shoot that cannon at anything else in the room, including people. For adults though, and other collectors like myself, there's not a whole lot here for us. Sure, the minifigures are fine, but I think they both appear in other sets. I don't actually think I have this weird little Infinity Gauntlet. It's like a tiny version of the Infinity Gauntlet that fits on a minifigure's hand. I think it looks pretty cool. It may have come with other sets. This is the only set where I got it. So honestly, if this is the only set where that's available, maybe that makes that a little more worth it. But I mean, if you can get all of the elements of this set in other sets, I would pass on this one. I mentioned earlier, the little builds in this set are a little ridiculous. The Infinity Gauntlet, like I said, I think it's supposed to be guarded by some sort of laser jail. I don't know, not really what it was like in the MCU. I can look past that part. Thanos sits upon a Thanos-themed missile launcher, I'll call it, because the launcher is colored the same as Thanos' costume itself, and that's very like on brand for a supervillain to paint his missile launcher to match his costume. But in my opinion, the most ridiculous part of this set is that Iron Man has to have an Iron Man themed jet plane in order to thwart Thanos in this case. Think about this, Iron Man has a suit which is powered by an arc reactor, which can fly and can also shoot things out of his hands, his feet, and his chest, and yet he has built himself a plane in this case, which looks like it's also powered by an arc reactor, which can fly and shoot things out of its wings in this case. The whole vehicle has kind of that built-in irony to it, but I asked my almost 4-year-old what he thought about it, and he doesn't care one bit about the irony. No, he just likes the fact that it has these cool little disc shooters on it, and I do too, honestly. I don't actually have any of these interesting looking disc shooter pieces. They're like built on a 1x4 brick, and they have a little slot in the middle which you can push a little disc piece through, and because of the little resistance of the springiness of the sides, it ends up flinging the disc out the front. I will say though, that's much harder for a kid to play with and manipulate than the big missile launcher, which just has a single red button on the back, which is much easier, at least in my case, for my almost 4-year-old to play with. So in conclusion, this set is a bit ridiculous. I, as a collector, still like it. If I were buying this for myself, I wouldn't have bought this for myself, and I don't think you should either. $20 is a little too much for some reused minifigures and some ridiculous vehicles, in my opinion. But if you do have a kid and you can build Legos with that kid, then I would absolutely encourage you to buy this set and really any LEGO Junior set, because there's nothing better than building Lego with your kid. As always, thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to like, subscribe, and tell your friends. Now, if you'll excuse me, in the true theme of this set, I've got to go do a little snapping of my own, but not an Infinity Gauntlet. I've got to go snap at my kids because I lost all my patience with them and they should have been in bed hours ago. I'm just kidding, my kids have been in bed for hours and they're usually very well behaved. I was just trying to think of like a parallel between like parenting and snapping, and all I could think of was like a dad losing his patience with his kid and snapping. What does that tell you about my own childhood? All right, I'll see you next time.